So here we go. In the next problem that we have in front of us, we see that it says, how many meters of rope did he cut off? Okay, so let's go ahead and think about this problem here because we want to make sure that we don't get caught up in the numbers or the fractions or the decimals or whatever. Here it says, how many meters of rope did he cut off? So we want to know how much was removed. Now, everyone, quick question. When we typically think about the phrasing of cutting something off, what operation do we typically think of? Yeah, we typically think of subtraction. Yeah, typically when we're cutting something off or removing something, we typically think about subtraction. So that's where I believe some of the confusion where this problem can come in, because we see that it's saying cut off, and then when we read the actual phrasing here, it says a rope is this long, and Tom cut off this much of the rope for a project. So we might be thinking like, oh, we're subtracting, but actually, this is a multiplication problem. Because everybody, are we looking for, one, are we looking for how much we cut off? Or two, are we looking for how much rope is left? You tell me. One, how much rope we're cutting off? Or two, how much rope is left? What are we actually looking for here? Yeah, we're just looking for how much we cut off. We don't care about how much is left. That's not what the problem is asking for at all. Think about it. Take a look. How many meters of rope did he cut off? Everyone, that does not say how much or how many meters of rope is left. That is not what it says at all. That's not what it says at all. So I know a lot of us want to subtract and do the 2/3 and subtract after the fact, but it's just not necessary. To do this problem the right way, right over here in the purple highlight, it says we cut off 2/3 of the rope. Everyone, the word of in math, what does that translate to if I say 2/3 of the rope? Yeah, the word of is multiplication. The word of is multiplication. Now a little pop quiz. The phrase out of tells us what operation? The phrase out of indicates division. Correct. So let's go ahead and get into it here. We have 2/3 of the rope. The word of translates to multiplication right over here. So we have 2/3 multiplied by something. And so everyone, how long was the rope again? We're going to go ahead and just insert that here into our expression. What is that going to be? The length of that rope is right here. That'll be 12.6 meters. So with that said, boom, we'll plug that right in, 12.6. And now all we have to do is multiply. So here's how we're going to go about it. When it comes to multiplying by a fraction, there are a couple of ways you can go about it. But the simplest way to understand this is that this number up top is going to multiply this number. This number on the bottom, everybody, is going to divide. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply by 2 first, and then I'll divide by 3 after. You can divide by the 3 first and multiply by the 2 after. It really doesn't matter, but just know that the top number is multiplication and the bottom is division. So let's go ahead and get after it here. So 12.6 multiplied by 2. That's going to be 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 2. Then we have 2 times 2 is 4, carry the 1 is 5. And then we have 1 times 2, which is 2. At the end, what we'll do with those decimals is we'll bring 1 decimal back. So that'll be 1 decimal there, 1 decimal back. So what we have here is 25.2. Again, this was the part where we just did 2 multiplied by 12.6. That's what that was. So now we have 25.2 divided by 3. And so that's what we're going to do now. 25.2 divided by 3. We'll just go ahead, write that out, and then just make sure that our decimal lines up exactly where it is. So there it is. And so now here we go. 3 into 25, that's going to be 8, because 3 times 8 is 24. We subtract that, leaving 1 left over, bringing that 2 down, and that makes 12. So with that, we have 3 going into 12, and that will be 4. And so because of the place valuing that we've set up, This is going to be 8.4 meters. That's how much rope was cut off. Not how much is left, because that's not what we're caring about. That's not what we're looking for. That's how much rope was cut off. And so again, that's why the correct answer here is answer choice C. All right, so new question, but we're going to approach it with that same calm, cool, and collected manner, where we're going to begin with the question sentence. What is the area of the sign? So when we read that, again, you might be hyperfixated on the word area, and you absolutely should be. Because remember, my party people, anytime that you are asked to calculate an area, the very first question that comes from your head needs to be, what shape? Again, one more time. Anytime you see area as what you're trying to find, like area of a figure, you have to ask, hey, what shape? Because the shape is going to dictate what formula you use. So in this case, everybody check it out. In this case, we see that it says a triangular sign has a base of 12 centimeters and a height of 7. The 12 and the 7 don't matter if you don't know how to use them. My party people, we have to use the right formula, and the formula for the area of a triangle, let me write this out right over here. Area of a triangle is going to be the base times the height divided by 2. Just like that, my party people. So make sure you have that written down the right way. That's the formula that we're going to use. We've also seen people write the formula with a fraction, so like half of the base times the height, which is the exact same thing. But with that said, everybody, let's plug in the numbers that we have, and let's see where this is going to take us, because I'm going to show you the long way of going about this, and then hopefully some ways that'll save you time. So pay attention here. Number one, let me just grab a formula here. Let's go ahead and just duplicate it, and then let's fill in what we have. So the base times the height. My base was 12, and my height was 7. And so everybody help me out. What is 12 multiplied by 7 going to give me? That's going to be 84, absolutely. So we have 84 divided by 2. And my party people, what is 84 divided by 2 going to be? Yeah, that's going to be 42. Absolutely, nice and easy, all done, and that's 42 square centimeters. And that's one way of doing it. Again, that's one way of doing it. I want to show you the other way. And yes, absolutely, let me just address that comment. So yeah, once we multiply the numerator, boom, we'll just divide it by 2, just like that, and we're good. And again, that's specifically for a triangle. Now, for this specific one, what I'm about to show you isn't going to make it a lot faster, but this will definitely save you in some of these later problems that have those higher values. Everybody, what's that S word that we can use or do or perform onto a fraction? What is that S word that we can perform on fractions? Starts with an S, followed by an I. Simplify, that is correct. Absolutely. When you take a look at this fraction here, everybody, we can simplify first. We can simplify because, everybody, what is 12 divided by 2? 12 divided by 2, what does that give us? That gives us 6, absolutely. So we can divide out the 2 from the top and the bottom to make it 6 and 1. So that means that we're just going to have 6 times 7 over 1. Everybody, what's 6 times 7? I think we know what that is. Oh yeah, that's 42. And I just wanted to show you that we can get the exact same answer with a little less work. Sometimes it's better to simplify before you multiply when it comes to fractions. And this was just one little bit of courtesy extended to you to just remind you to simplify beforehand. That way you can save yourself time when you can. If you got answer choice B, that just means you forgot to divide by 2. That's all that means. Again, the correct answer here is answer choice A.